Well, a tale of two Americas. The income gap between the richest and the poorest Americans is, listen up, at an all-time high in this country. Last year, it grew by the largest margin ever. In 2009, the top 20% got almost half of all income in America. Meanwhile, the 14.3% of Americans living below the poverty line got only 3.4% of the income. The top 5% of Americans saw their incomes grow last year, while middle-class family incomes declined. And Republicans, well, they want to make it even worse by cutting taxes for the super rich, but offering no solutions for the other 98% of America. For more, let's bring in Reverend Jesse Jackson, president of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Reverend, good to have you with us tonight. What can be done about these numbers? Why is this gap getting this way, in your opinion, and what can be done about it?
Because the rich are being subsidized, they're getting bailouts, they're getting tax cuts. They're not getting richer because they're working harder. The poor are not poor because they're not working as hard. There must be some government policy for reindustrialization. You bail out the banks and not link the lending of the reinvestment. The result is you lose 90,000 homes or vacant lots in Detroit. A million more foreclosures this year. There must be some connection between bailing out the rich and their reinvestment in America.
If the Republicans take the majority, could we assume that it's only going to get worse based on what they've said so far, in your opinion?
Well, right now, they are really fighting to protect tax cuts for the very wealthy. Dr. King said if the rich just got richer slower, it could help everybody live the boats to the bottom. But there's this radical leap to the top and leaping without manufacturing jobs, leaping without reinvestment, without reconstruction. You know, Ed, we bail out big auto companies, and the #1 market for Buick today is China. They're not rebuilding plants in Saginaw and Flint and Lansing, Hamtramck, and Detroit. So I say reinvest in America as a key to putting America back to work. As for these cities, if you just had a plan where people could be taught apprenticeship training or to do landscaping, to do weatherization, to take down boards and put in window panes, you could put America back to work. And that's why we're marching on this Saturday, October 2nd. It's all about putting America back to work. Not welfare, but fair share.
You and I, Reverend, have talked recently about turnout and how the base is somewhat disenfranchised, that the voter turnout for the Democrats in some of the metropolitan areas in this country has been very low. This is what the president said about the base. People need to buck up. It is inexcusable for any Democrat or progressive right now to stand on the sidelines in the midterm election. Now, with the story that we're doing here and the income gap the way it is, why wouldn't it be a motivating factor for the base? Your response on that and the way the president is handling this?
Well, unless you water the roots, you will not have flowers to bloom, and we need targeted jobs at the poor. In Detroit, for example, 600,000 registered voters, 67,000 voted. They're not voting en masse because they're still losing their houses. They're still losing jobs. So I say there must be, we bail out the rich, we bail out the elite, the military in Afghanistan. Targeted jobs and justice at the bottom will bring about greater stimulation.
But is the president, but Reverend, is the president solid in his strategy to give a polite scolding to the base and tell them they got to buck up? What do you think?
Well, I think it's not just a matter of scolding. For example, if you go to campuses, if you speak up, I have a plan to a gateway to student loan debt forgiveness. Yeah. Because student loan debts are now greater than credit cards. That is a model of stimulus. If you say to the poor, I have a chicken in the pot, as Roosevelt did, that's concrete. So we need concrete job concentration at the base. We have every reason to vote, because to not vote, you'll not just lose ratings, you'll also lose congressional chairman and sub-chairman. The stakes are very high, and spirit should not be low. We have big reason to march on Saturday, and the vote on November 2nd.
And we will be there on October 2nd, this Saturday in D.C. We'll see you.
By the way, one way you can keep them being poor, you vote. You are bet against the Bears against Dallas and the Bears against Green Bay. You keep that up, you'll become folks who are marching far, not marching home, not marching far.
You got me. The Vikes are 1-2. I can't brag. Reverend, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.